All right, so a fairly typical volume flow rate problem, right? Q is equal to velocity times area, and we are dealing with some unit conversions here, right? Because we're given velocity in meters per second and our answers are in per minute. And so that's going to be a little bit significant. But to start with, let's go ahead and figure out the volume flow rate in per seconds. So Q is equal to the velocity, which is 8 times the area, which is 0.05. Right? And again, in this type of a problem, you could write out the units if you were a little bit confused, but I think it's fairly clear, and I think it's faster if I don't write out units, but if you're getting confused, feel free to write out units. Q is equal to 8 times 0.05. What 8 times 5 is 40. Then we got to move the decimal 1, 2. So 40, and then 1, 2. So point, or 0.40. And this is in meters cubed per second. And so we want to take this and we want to convert it into meters cubed per minute. And so we want to multiply it by 60. So 0.40 times, let's do this times 60, right? And we could do this type of multiplication where we carry and we do everything, but we don't actually have to. 0.4 times 6 is the same as 4 times 6, so that's 24, right? And then let's go ahead and deal with zeros. So we're dealing with 60, not 6, and then we're also dealing with 0.4, not 4. So the zeros end up canceling out, right? So again, what I did there is I did 4 times 6, but because one of the zeros is actually here and one of the zeros is actually here, they end up canceling out and we get 24. And so the correct answer here is C. And so again, I hope that math trick that I just pulled here makes sense and it's not too difficult. But even if it isn't, one of the shortcuts that I like to do is, well, we're dealing with 4 something times 6 something, so that's 24. And then we see if there are any answer choices that are, for example, 0.24 or 2.4. And if there were, then we would have to figure out the zeros. And if not, then we don't have to figure out the zeros, of course. Then we just know the correct answer. And oftentimes, I think it's pretty rare that the MCAT will give you 2 answer choices that have the same numbers, but just with the decimal point in a different place. They will sometimes when it's scientific notation. So they might do, for example, like 5.1 times 10 to the minus 2 and 5.1 times 10 to the minus 5. I've seen that, but I think it's pretty rare. So this is one little trick that you can use. So the correct answer here is going to be C.